I moved to New Zealand winter of 2012, and from gathering my relevant documents up to obtaining my NZRN license, it took about 2 years and 6 months, and it cost about 450,000 pesos. But of course, a lot has changed since 2012. Applicants now have to apply through CGFNS, and even after you are invited for CAP or you got a job while you are offshore, you still have to book for an MIQ slot, and that definitely add to the cost and the timeline, and of course, some of the fees may have increased. So in this video, I'll talk about two nurses who have obtained their NZRN license in 2020 and 2021. I specifically chose these cases so I can compare the cost and timeline between CAP applicants versus non-CAP applicants. So grab your pen, take some notes, details up next. Notes Weekly. All right, so let's start with Nurse JJ. She is a registered nurse from the Middle East, and she started her application on September 30, 2018, and she became a New Zealand nurse on July 8, 2021. Congratulations! Timeline-wise, it took her 2 years, 9 months, and 8 days before she received her NZRN license. And it looked like, upon reviewing the details of her application, her application is progressing as expected from September 2018 to December 20. However, because of the pandemic, she was affected and there has been a lot of delay with her application. That's why it took longer than expected. I will also show you her registration timeline and cost in the screen so you can see the details. Please note that her expenses are in mixed currencies, so there's AED, PHP, NZD, and AUD. So we'll start with her application to Nursing Council of New Zealand back in September 30, 2018, and that cost 485 New Zealand dollars. There was acknowledgement from Nursing Council New Zealand, and she had to verify her PRC license. That cost about 200 pesos, but she couldn't remember how much it cost to pay for DHL. So I have question marks in there. And around November, her documents were received. She had her passport notarized in Dubai embassy, and that cost 100 AED. Other documents listed there would be declaration, passport, IELTS result, PRC registration, CV, and certificate of employment. So she also had her IELTS notarized, PRC notarized. I'm not sure what Skynet Docs is. I imagine that's the company that she used to send all documents to New Zealand, and that cost around 120 AED. And documents requested through Dubai Health Authority, certificate of nursing card, received good standing certificate from DHA, and that cost about 520 AED. School documents, the fees are also there, 14,000 pesos for your reference. And DHA license card received, and that cost around 120 AED. And she was queue for Nursing Council assessment in 2018. So just a bit of a disclaimer here, as you can see, she didn't actually go through CGFNS because CGFNS only started offering their service from October 2019. Her documents was assessed by Nursing Council New Zealand on February 2019. And there was further information required, specifically around position description from recent employer, data flow verification prior to registration to Dubai. Not sure what that information is, but that was requested by Nursing Council. Received position description in February 2019, assessment completed. She received the letter from Nursing Council stating that she can now find CAP providers. And she received a CAP offer from Wesley for May 2020 intake. And she also had to pay Medical June 2019, and that cost 5,087.25 AED. When I asked her about this, I think Medical is tied up with Wesley. I'm not sure if Wesley is your CAP provider. Do let me know in the comment section below, because as far as I know, Medical is actually a recruitment company. So this was a bit confusing for me initially. But as you can see, early on, it looks like all of her application is going as expected for each different steps.
And by the way, I have also recently created a video about different CAP providers. I do have some information about the tuition fee. So if you want to know more about that, let me know in the comment section below so I can create a video. I think the highest CAP tuition fee is around 11,000 New Zealand dollars, if I'm not mistaken. But for her, she paid 20,395.50 AED for the tuition fee. And then the succinct information is all about her visa application. And I'll just leave that information here so you can review it. Everything was straightforward until obviously COVID-19 happened.
And that's the first part of her timeline. By the way, if you're just meeting, kia ora! My name is Binibining Veronica, and on this channel, I talk about nursing and life in New Zealand. So if you're new here, please hit like and subscribe. Salamat po!
So March 19, 2020, New Zealand border closed. March 24, 2020, her CAP schedule moved from May 2020 to January 2021 intake. And it was rescheduled again May 2021 due to delays in changing immigration rules regarding border restrictions. She requested for an extension of CAP letter from Nursing Council. She was reissued a CAP letter December 2020, and she applied for EOI for expression of interest for travel exemption that cost 45 New Zealand dollars. Invitation to apply for critical purpose visitor visa, and she applied for that March 15. She also paid for VFS fee, 82 AED. I'm not sure what VFS stands for. And she got her visa approval again, March 18, 2021. And then she was asked by Nursing Council to complete an international criminal history check at cost 149 AUD per country. So she purchased one for Philippines and then another one for UAE. And she also had to complete RT-PCR, and that cost 150 AED. And now she finally booked a flight from Dubai to New Zealand. It cost 4,200 AED. That was on April 2021. And she was also charged around 3,100 New Zealand dollars for the 2-week MIQ stay. And you don't have to pay it upfront. You have 90 days upon receiving the invoice. So I think her due date was September 23. And she completed her CAP orientation and eventually graduated from CAP on June 14, 2021. And she received the CAP report from the CAP provider just a few weeks after that. And she received her APC from Nursing Council New Zealand, July 2021. Now, on the list that she gave to me, the bottom information has something about good standing again from the HA. So I'm not sure if this was a typographical error or if she actually had to request that as part of her application. So I'm just not sure on that one. But yeah, that's Nurse JJ, not her real name. Nurse JJ's timeline and cost. And again, she's a nurse from the Middle East. And we do have a group chat for nurses from the Middle East wanting to move to New Zealand. So if you want to join, just flick me a message through Facebook or just write it in the comment section below.
Now, just to give you an idea, I have converted all of Nurse JJ's expenses to Philippine peso, but obviously this is just an estimate and this is based on the exchange rate at the time when I am recording this video. If you are enjoying this video, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Salamat po! But please note, this does not include CGFNS fees because during her application, CGFNS was still not involved in the application process, and this is also excluding her pocket money. To recap, I will divide her timeline and cost to 3 different phases. So number 1, from Nursing Council New Zealand application to receiving her CAP offer, it took her 7 months and 18 days and it cost around 120,000 pesos. From paying the CAP tuition up to receiving the visa approval, it took her around 8 months and 6 days and it cost around 287,000 pesos. Number 3, from receiving her visa up to New Zealand border closure because of the pandemic to actually receiving her NZRN license, it took her 1 year, 5 months, and 6 days and cost around 96,000 pesos. So overall registration timeline for Nurse JJ was 2 years, 9 months, and 8 days, and it cost around 500,000 pesos. If you are enjoying this video, please make sure to hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. That will really help with my channel. Next! Let's look at the registration timeline and cost for a UKRN who did not need to complete CAP. Her name is Nurse RV, and this is the detail of her timeline and cost. Again, the expenses will be presented in multiple currencies. This time, it will be in GBD, USD, PHP, NZD, and AUD.
Timeline-wise, it took her about 3 months and 14 days, and her application details are as follows. So she started her application August 18, 2020. So she had to create a CGFNS account. She had her documents notarized and uploaded 2 IDs, which cost 12.7 GBD. August 2020, she had paid for verification services. It cost $300 US. September 4, 2020, her school sent out the documents to CGFNS and it cost around 3,000 pesos. PRC likewise completed the form and sent it out and it cost 2,000 pesos. And she had some employer documents sent out as well that cost 1,800 pesos. And this one is for the license from Nursing Midwifery Council. So that is in United Kingdom. So I think that cost 34 GBD. And again, one of her employers sent out, completed the form and sent it out. It all cost 2,000 pesos. And just more information about her employer sending her documents. And finally, October 15, 2020, she received an invitation to apply for New Zealand registration. So she created an account in Nursing Council New Zealand website. It cost 485 New Zealand dollars. She was assigned a case manager, an ICHC account. So this is for international criminal history check, which cost 149 AUD. And then the Nursing Council assessed all of her documents. They also requested her to upload her CV. And assessment was completed December 1, 2020, and she is awaiting for registration. And as far as I know, she received her nursing license shortly after.
Again, to give you an idea, I have converted all of Nurse RV's expenses to Philippine peso, but obviously this is just an estimate and it is dependent on the exchange rate at the time I'm recording this video. All in all, she spent 55,000 pesos. However, this is excluding her visa application, plane ticket, MIQ fees, and her pocket money. I also just want to point out that because Nurse RV already received her NZRN license while she was offshore, this meant that she had to apply for a work visa, and the MIQ fees for applicants with work visa is different from CAP students. I have created a video about the MIQ experience of a SGRN who did not require CAP, and you can watch it right here. And just another disclaimer regarding Nurse RV's timeline. Although it only took her 3 months and 14 days to get her NZRN license, it did take another 6 months for her to secure a job in an aged care facility here in New Zealand. And the last time that I talked to her, she said that her estimated arrival in New Zealand is mid-September 2021. And so, question of the day, are you still thinking of moving to New Zealand, or are you perhaps considering moving to a different country instead? Let me know in the comment section below. On my last video about CAP versus non-CAP applicants, I focused more on the pros and cons of each group and the challenges that they faced. So it was really good that in this video, I get to talk about the registration timeline and the cost and the differences between each group. And I guess to sum it all up, I'd like to remind everyone that you are likely to face different challenges as you are applying for your NZRN license. For example, the release and re-release of MIQ rooms are currently on pause because of the community outbreak of COVID in New Zealand. It is also important to note that 2022 CAP students who are flying from the Philippines are still waiting for a bilateral agreement between the New Zealand and Philippine government. If you want to know more about the specific challenges that you are likely to face depending on what step you are in your application, and if you want to hear more of my mini advice, then hit like on this video. If this video gets 100 likes, I'll definitely delve on those specific challenges. By the way, many thanks to Nurse JJ from Middle East and Nurse RV from United Kingdom for their detailed experience. It would really help future applicants. As always, I wish you all the best with your journey and I hope you will be blessed. I'll see you soon. Bye!
Bye!
Nagbabay ka din? Kasali ka ba sa video? Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye!
Thank you for watching!
Thank you!